In the last video I showed how to do device discovery with Cocoon P2P. In this one I'll take it one step further and discuss messaging. So in the example here we'll be building a complete chat client over the local network. So between any devices that are on the same Wi-Fi network, no server required. So let's set up a new project, new Flex project here. I'll give it the name of Cocoon Messaging. And I'll make it a web-based project. If you wanted to, you could make it an Air application as well, even compile this to Android or iPhone. And we click Finish. Now the first thing to do once this is created is link in the Cocoon P2P library. So you go to Properties and add the project from Google Code into your build path and click OK. So it's set up now, and we can use the mxml tag that makes this also easy, and that tag is local network discovery. Give it an ID. I usually call it a channel, and especially in this example when we're working locally you'll want to set a property called loopback. When you do messaging and you set loopback to true, you get back your own messaging events, so you'll be able to listen to what you sent out as well. And then we need one more property at least, which is data received, and data received will get triggered when a message is posted to the net group. So any message from any client will trigger this event, and you can handle it in whatever way you like. Now we can generate a handler for this, which is a nice new feature in Flash Builder 4.5. And don't forget to close this tag. Now we'll do all this code later on, but first of all we'll need to set up our interface, and we can jump to design view for this. So a few things. I'll need a list control, and that will be the list that shows all our connected clients, as in the device discovery example. I'll also need a text input field. That will be our message that we sent to the group. I'll need a button, and that button will trigger us sending the message. Resize it a bit, set the label for that button. Okay, and we'll need a text area. Okay, let's resize this a bit. Okay, and to set our username we'll also need a panel like we did last time. I'll resize that a bit, set its title, set your username. I'll make it a little bit smaller even. I'll take a button that I'll put inside, resize it, and I'll put its label as save. I'll take a text input field, put it here, which will hold our client name, and when we save the panel will close, the name will update, that type of thing. So this is our user interface for the chat room. We'll be able to set the username, we'll be able to see the connected clients, we'll be able to send a message, and we'll also be able to send a private message. So let's hook this up. You'll see all these components here. Let's tidy this up a bit, and I'll give the list control first of all a name. I'll call this clients list. I also set the data provider like last time to channel.clients, and I'll set the label field to client name. Okay, list control is hooked up, that's all fine. This text input field is the field that we'll use to send a message to a group. So we'll say this ID is chat underscore txt. The button is what will use the click handler on to send the actual message, so we can say ID is send underscore btn for button. The text area is what will display the chat log, so I can call this chat log underscore txt, and I can also say it editable to false. Now the panel is for our username, so I'll say ID is username underscore panel. The button, I can give an ID of save button, and the text input field here I can say is username underscore text. Okay, what do we want to do? First of all, this panel, when the save button is clicked, we want to have it set the client name and remove the panel. So you can generate a click handler here and move up, and I can say in this click handler channel.client name equals username text.text, and I can also say username panel.visible equals false. So it will set our client name on the net group and it will remove the panel. So because our list is data bound, this new client name will show up here and we won't have to worry about that. The next thing we'll want to do is when the send button is clicked, we'll want to send whatever message is in this chat text input field. So we'll generate a click handler for that as well. And you'll see we have this click handler here. So what do we want to do? Well, very easy. We say channel.send message to all, and the message we'll want to send to all is the value of this text input field. So we'll say chat text.text, and after sending it we can also clear the text, so I can say chat text.text equals this empty string. Okay, I think we're almost there. We can test this now. Oh no, we forgot one thing. We're sending the message, but we're not receiving it yet. So you see here the data received method. That's what we get when a message gets posted to the net group. So we need to fill in that function as well. So what do? Well, we say chat log underscore text dot text plus equals. And now we can get some information from the message. So we can say event dot message, and then we have a client field. So in this client field we can get the client name. We'll add a colon here, and then we can append some more text, and we can say event dot message dot data, and then to make it a little prettier we'll add a blank line after this. So just a \n will do that for us. And that's it. So we can test this now. I'll run it in the browser. And you can see we have our panel. I'll just add my username as Peter. When I save this, the panel should close and the client name should be Peter. So you see the client name is Peter. I can type something here and you'll see Peter : test. Pretty cool. I'll add one more feature, and that's private messaging. So private messaging is not so difficult. Here in this data received handler you can find out whether a message is meant to be private or public. So you can just do an if statement. I'll say if event.message.scope equals all. That's a public message. Then we can just write it out as we did here. If it's not, then we'll handle it a bit differently. I'll just copy this and I'll add a message before here. I'll say private message from, and we'll display that private message. Now private messages are sent a bit differently. Obviously we are sending a message to all here, Now we might want to send a private message as well. So how are we going to do that? Well, we can just check if one of the clients is clicked in the list control. So I can say clients list dot selected item. If that is true, then I can send the message only to a particular client, and else we'll just send it to everyone. So the else statement we have, and I'll just need to change this one, and I'll say channel dot send message to client. This is just sending the message to one particular client, so it's basically a private message. The first argument will be the same, chat text.text. The second argument is actually requesting a group ID. So how do I get that group ID? Well, I get the selected item from the list control, say selected item, and then I say dot group ID, which gets that information about the selected client. So that should be all. We have now a differentiator. We check whether we want to send a message to one client or to everyone, and we also check that in the data received handler whether it's private or a public message. So let's try this again. I'll say Peter. I'll add a new instance of our chat here, and I'll say John, for example. So we now have two clients. I can send a message here from John, and Peter will get that as well. Now Peter can send a private message to John. I say, hi John, how are you? So I see this in the loop back, the private message for myself, and John will get that as well. Now just to test this, we'll do it with a third chat. So let's say John and Anna. So Anna can send a message to John. Hi John, it's Anna. So it's a private message, and John will see this, but Peter won't. So we have private messaging, public messaging, in a net group using some very basic action script and our Cocoon P2P project. I hope you liked it. The next tutorial will be on accelerometer data and Cocoon P2P on the mobile phone. So enjoy and see you next time.